Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Dragoon X Omega II. Last episode we left off outside the armory, but I'm not going to go into the armory right now. I'm actually going to backtrack and go to the final dungeon, the Ice Lab / Ark. We ain't going to be able to access most of the final dungeon here, because we have to go to the other two dungeons, the Deadpool and the armory, in order to really access this dungeon. But I just want to show off a little bit of it. Now you could go straight ahead if you want to. You can get another piece of armor, an accessory. Up there is the Vermis implant. The Vermis implant protects you from the stare spell. But we're not going to worry about that right now because, you know, it's just limited armor selection. So we'll get that on our final approach here. Well, this right here is a robot. Here's the place where the plague began. He's not going to get out of our way. A few new enemies here. The Howler. You saw that. Cybeck back there earlier. There's one more, a new enemy in this area, the Destro, but we'll run into him a little later. We'll see him a little later on in the episode. Most of the time, there's 3 new enemies per area that we head into, so. But over here we have this force field. A strange barrier of light blocks the way. That's what we need the EMP to disable. The EMP we'll find in the armory. And then we're able to get deeper into this dungeon. But we're going to run into another dead end. We're going to run into the elevator that takes you to the Ark. But in order to use that elevator, we need the source. And the source is found in the Deadpool. We kind of were told about the source earlier. Basically, where all the dead were from first, when the beasts first came down from the Ark. The source was placed where they were buried, and they're basically turning into zombies. So there'll be a lot of undead. But Sargon here doesn't have the harm spell like in Final Fantasy, so he'll just have to take them out with regular weapons. Speaking of weapons, he's going to get quite a few here. He's going to get 2 actually in this armory here. He already ran into all the enemies earlier. We came in here to get some treasure in the nanites. And enemies only appear on this first floor. Once we get to the next floor, it's enemy free, with the exception of the boss. Running around here. We head on down. And we're going to head to the right here real quick. We're going to pick up our first new weapon, the pulse gun. The pulse gun is going to be weaker than the Vulcan cannon that we have right now. However, it does extra damage to robots and cyborg enemies. So actually, it's a lot of times it's a better choice than the Vulcan gun. Not that we're going to really keep the Vulcan gun much longer anyway, because we're going to get a better weapon near the end of this area. Here's the board here. You don't want to go too far to the right. If you step into the black area there, you get warped out. So this is the rail gun. It's a second most powerful gun in the game, but it has really low hit, but like I said, hit only basically determines your amount of attacks that you can do, so it doesn't really matter. We'll alternate between the railgun and the pulse gun. So my appearance disturbs you. He cannot fully shape me in his new image without more power. I shall enter the Ark and find it there, and he shall be reborn. It's Tyrus again, and we are going to go with the pulse gun here, because Tyrus, as you see, he's changed. He's now a cyborg. So our first few rounds we're going to spend healing ourselves, buffing ourselves up. We'll start with shield to increase our physical defense. We will cast Shadow to increase our evasion. Then we can also use the Myra armor to cast the Agnost. As you can see, he has quite a few spells that he can use. One of the new ones there is the Oraga spell, and basically what that spell does is it basically heals him for between 80 and 200 points. So, yeah, he's just using it right there. We don't have to, like I said, it ain't too bad. He just used it about his 4th or 5th turn. So all those turns that we spent buffing, it's okay because any damage that we probably would have done in those turns, he probably would have just healed up with that Raga spell anyway. So, as you can see, we cast the Blitz spell. That was the final spell we cast on ourselves, and that gives us a second hit. So now you see we're doing 2 hits to Tyrus. Now, he cast the Dogma spell. That removed our Agnes buff. So we just want to use the Myra armor again to put that buff on us. Because one of the things that Tyrus does, besides the spells that he uses, he can also put you in a stun status. He has like a stun touch ability. And so the Agnos will help us reduce the chance of that landing. So if we get to basically below 200 hit points, we probably just want to heal ourselves up with the Aura Tap, just to be safe, because if he does stun us, it might take a few rounds before we get pulled out of that stun. But we take him out, we've defeated him, we got a lot of experience and some Arca. And we get the EMP. The EMP will, like I said, disrupt that laser barrier back in the ice lab. So now we can actually head deeper into the ice lab. Reminds me of Final Fantasy II, where there's like the final dungeon was like you had the Jade Passage, and you had the castle, the Palamecian castle. In this one, it's just you got the ice lab, and then you have the Arc. But both dungeons are pretty small, and basically, actually, the Ice Lab is actually a little bit more complicated than the Arc. The Arc is pretty much just a straight shot. You can't really get lost, there's no detours. So, we'll go here. We're going to sell some armor here. I'm going to sell the Regal Helmet, because when we go deeper into the Ice Lab, we're going to get basically the best helmet in the game. We're also going to get a new piece of armor. So we want to have 2 clear spaces of an inventory for armor. We can get rid of our Vulcan gun there. Just equip the rail gun. The only cyborg enemy that we got in the Ice Lab is those Cybec enemies, and they're not too hard. You can also always use the gun as an item, so like I can use some items and some weapons in Final Fantasy as an item to cast like a spell. It'll actually do damage to cyborg and robotic enemies. So you don't necessarily have to have it equipped to do decent damage. It all depends on the majority of the enemies in the area in terms of whether you use the railgun or the pulse gun. So back to that EMP generator, or the barrier generator, and blow it out with the EMP. And I'll be able to go deeper into the Ice Lab. Well, there's going to be a treasure chest in the upper right corner here. Here's the last enemy in this area, the Destro. Atlas boosted strength, so deal a little more damage, although the worst thing this guy does is that stare spell. That Vermis implant that we can get if we would have went straight ahead, that could block the stare. Like I said, we just have such limited armor space that we'll pick it up later. The armor's like a world of its own. It's even said there's even great cities there. Luckily we don't have to like do too much in that city. Like I said, it's pretty much a straight shot. Let's go get a lot of money, some Arca. Like I said, all this Arca that we're getting, we'll just basically end up buying a whole bunch of those Optis to max out our stats. We're even getting a lot of money because after this, we'll actually be doing some level grinding. I thought I saw another person behind you just a second ago. Perhaps my optical sensors are kind of whack. So here's some of the sidewalk enemies. We can just use the pulse rifle as an item. You know, deal some decent damage to them. So, I guess in the game's code, these cyborg enemies must be like considered like the undead, and then the pulse gun is like the harm spell. So if you try to use the pulse gun on you know, just like a human enemy or a humanoid enemy or a bio enemy, it won't do anything. You can still damage if you attack them with it, but if you use it as an item, just like if you use like the light axe in Final Fantasy 1 against a non-undead monster, it won't do any damage to them. But today we got to see what the pulse gun was like, not using it as an item. Head down here. Get Ender to the south. The teleporter unit lies ahead, but we won't be able to use that teleporter because we don't have the source. So here we got the August armor. It's the second best armor in the game. It gives plus 26 more defense to compared to the Myra armor, and it does have 18 more points of evasion hit to it, but the 26 absorb points outweigh that 18 armor evasion hit that we take. So I'll be just selling that Myra armor. The Myra armor, like I said, you could keep it around to cast that Agnos, but Agnos is such a low-level spell that we have plenty of castings of that by ourselves, so we don't need to hold on to that Myra armor. Here's basically the teleporter to the Ark. I've watched over the teleporter since deactivation. It will not run until its source is come within a certain distance of it. And we don't have that source, but we can find the source in the Deadpool, which is another dungeon to the east of the armory. Before we head there, like I said, we're going to do a little bit of level grinding. And we get the Spline helmet, the best helmet in the game. So, the only thing better than the August armor is going to be that special armor, the Gamma armor. Go back to Dragoon X Omega I. Gamma, Sigma, and Omega Rifle. The Omega Rifle, the Sigma Shield. The Neverborn's beasts do not pay us any heed. The same cannot be said of humans like you. And we've got another beta that, of course, like I said, restores your PSI points. And we'll just warp out of there. You know, like I said, sell that Myra armor. We're going to do level grinding. I'm going to show you where I will be doing that level grinding. We're finally going to go back into that secret passageway in the tunnel south of Isenford here. And we're going to actually explore the rest of it. We're going to get some more money, and we'll get another accessory. So, sell the Myra armor to have another slot open. Saving our game and heal ourselves up here at the clinic. And we're going to head out. And so the enemies here don't necessarily give the most experience. Probably get a bit more experience in the ice lab. But right now, eventually the enemies in the ice lab will start running away. With these render enemies will never run away. So we want to equip the pulse gun because that does extra damage to these enemies because they're robots. And we can actually fight them for once. So depending on how lucky you get when you use the, you can sometimes, like I said, if there's two enemies like this, sometimes you can just use the pulse gun as an item 3 times. So it'll take you 3 turns to defeat them both, depending on how well you roll. Or if you just don't want to risk that, you can just attack each of them twice, and the pulse gun will take them out. I said if you get lucky rolling the numbers, when you use the pulse gun as an item, you can take them out in like 3 shots. But sometimes you'll it'll roll low, and it might take you 5 or 6. So it's kind of a gamble. But we got another accessory there, the Fornix. It gives only 1 defense as opposed to the 7 that the Globlix gives. But the reason you have that is basically it functions like the heal staff in, or the heal helmet in Final Fantasy 1. Basically, you use it and it will cast a low-level healing spell on Sargon. It's not necessarily really good right around here because sometimes these enemies hit you for a lot if they get lucky. As I said, they only hit for 2 there, so, you know, potentially, like I said, healed 44 for me. But then you just did more than 44 there, so if you get lucky and he only attacks you, then you're actually going to get healed up. But if he uses the spell on you, then it could take some damage. But we're so close to Eisenfort here that basically right now, basically what you do is just, you run around here, fight, use your PSI to heal yourselves up. When you get down to nothing, then you just run back to Eisenfort, save your game, and continue on like that. So we'll be doing my level grinding off screen, probably get to level 32. So take care, have a good one, see you in the next episode. Bye.